Good morning, YouTube. Today I'm going to review our 2020 Mustang Shelby GT 500.
So are you recording all of the nefarious activities?
If you're new to the channel, my name is Dan and we're at my dealership NG Supercars, and we have some pretty cool cars and we get to play with some pretty neat stuff. And today we've got one of my all-time favorite cars, the Mustang Shelby GT 500. I am a huge fan of Mustangs, even though, yes, I know we play with Ferraris and other exotic cars, but I've always been a Mustang fan. I've owned quite a few of them over the years, and I've owned a couple of the special ones, the Cobras and GT 500s and GT 350s and stuff. And let me tell you, the latest iteration of the GT 500 is absolutely awesome. 760 horsepower, big old supercharged engine, and a dual clutch transmission. Yeah, I know. A lot of people don't like that because it's no longer a manual, but the way that this thing drives, it's awesome. I actually really love the transmission. We'll get into that when we drive the cars. Anyway, we're gonna walk around this car. It only has like 2,100 and something miles on it, so it's basically brand new. So we'll show you anything wrong with it, which there's basically nothing wrong with it. But more importantly, we're gonna take it out for a drive and we get to play around in the 760 horsepower Mustang. Oh yeah, it's gonna be fun. Yes, so this is the glorious Velocity blue color with the black stripes, and it does have a PPF on the front. So all of this is PPF. You can kind of see the edges of the PPF on the striping. So very cool. And people have asked, are those actually real hood scoop pins? Yes, they are. So we'll show you those operational in a second. You got the front splitter with Shelby, of course, in it. I've seen where a lot of people will put stickers in there to make the Shelby have a different color. I think that's a great idea. It looks pretty cool when they do that. But if you don't want that, you want it to be a little bit more subtle, just leave it as is. Massive, huge Cobra emblem. I mean, this thing's big. They really want to let you know that this thing is a Cobra. Huge Brembo brakes. I mean, just look at the size of those things. Good Lord. Now, this is still a heavy car. I mean, it's a big car, admittedly. You know, when you compare it to some of these Ferraris and other cars that we have, this is big. It's probably at least 500 pounds heavier than most of the cars that we're typically dealing with. That's pretty substantial. You got a lot of, you know, splitter or like aerodynamic stuff here with little canards or fins or whatever you want to call it, and the ground effects on the sides. Huge rear wing with this big lip around the edge. So obviously trying to keep this thing planted on the ground as it's driving around. Big wheels and tires. Honestly, even with these 315/30 ZR20s, you still probably need more tire than that to really help keep this thing stuck to the ground. We'll get into that later. These things just way overpower the tires. That's the only thing that I don't like about this car, is it's very easy to get loose on it. Can unbolt this extra spoiler piece. So I guess if you don't want the like super wing, you can go with like a sort of big wing. Another huge emblem in the back. As long as we're in the back, let's show you the trunk. It is a Mustang after all. It's kind of still practical. Okay. So yeah, pretty large amount of trunk space. And being a GT500, they don't give you a spare. You're shit out of luck on that one. But you get a tow hook. All right. That's it. Good luck. Everything else kind of typical Mustang stuff with a little bit extra, you know, extra. You got the cool ventilated hood. And speaking of what's underneath the hood, let's show you that. So it's kind of a weird operation. You have to release the front, and you come up here and you push down the pins. Okay. And then you still have, kind of pop it up a little bit, and you still have a latch there. So it's like 4 steps to get this thing open. It's kind of a pain in the ass. But big old GT500, hand built with pride by Jeff Hamblin. Okay, nice. Well, thanks, Jeff. You did a good job. It's completely stock. It doesn't even have an aftermarket air filter or anything. This is how they came from the factory. Very nice. Big engine, big blower, and a whole lot of horsepower. And of course, the carbon fiber composite. Now, moving on to the inside of these things, got these nice Recaro seats with the Cobra emblem in the seat back. Two-tone seats with deviated stitching. The rear seats also have the deviated stitching with Alcantara centers, which is pretty cool. The seats do fold down, so if you actually want to carry some stuff, and I guess that was the latch I was supposed to pull. Oops. A little two-tone pattern right here on the sides. This one actually has WeatherTech mats. Got the carbon fiber dashboard stuff. Carbon fiber over there and over there. You can see this is chassis number L4218. Alcantara in the center of the seats, Alcantara on the steering wheel. The rest of it kind of more typical stuff, regular headliner, but cool gauges, just oil pressure and oil temperature gauges. All these different drive modes that are actually pretty neat. So that's one thing that's kind of cool, is it does have good technology in these cars. The only thing I don't like is this little spinning knob for the gears, you know, what park neutral drive. It's kind of annoying, but whatever. Well, let's hop in, take it for a spin. Oh yeah. Okay, push the start button. Ooh. I don't know about anyone else, but every time I hear that doo-doo-doo, I always think of I'm all Ford. I'm all Ford. All right, we're gonna turn the exhaust onto track mode because, yes, why not? Oh, much louder. And I'm also gonna put it in manual because we got flappy paddles. Now they're integrated into the steering wheel. So we're driving in like kind of like the normal mode right now. Put it in sport mode once we get a little bit warmed up. The tech in this car is really good. They have, you know, drag race mode, they have line lock, all this stuff built in that if you're gonna actually track and use these cars like they were designed to, you can really enjoy the hell out of them. They obviously figured out that, you know, the early versions of some of these special Mustangs had some engine popping issues. So they started putting crazy amounts of oil pressure in them. So this thing's holding over 100 PSI of oil right now. The transmission, I love the DCT in this car. They did such a good job. Only 2,140 miles on here. Okay. It sounds awesome. It sounds totally like Bullitt. It's a brap sound. Brap. Let's turn into sport mode. And you see it changes the gauges, so now you got a huge tachometer that runs way across the top. Very cool. And it's amazing to think that this thing is a supercharged engine. It still revs to 7,000, almost 7,600 RPMs or so. Okay, that was slippery. Whoa, that is a lot of power. Good Lord. Yeah. It's kind of scary to think that you can buy these brand new with warranties, and you know, young kids are buying these things who have never driven anything that's got high horsepower. This is not something you should just jump into. It is definitely a bit of a handful. It gets loose pretty easily, so with 760 horsepower rear-wheel drive front engine, yeah, stuff's gonna get loose, especially if you start accelerating coming out of corners and stuff. The suspension feels wonderful. Steering's actually, look how tight it is. There's no dead spot whatsoever. I mean, my God, they did a really phenomenal job on this thing. You know, obviously it's a heavy car, so it does take a little bit of effort to get it to go around corners, and it takes a little bit of work to get to change momentum of any sort, but man, it doesn't have much body roll. It sticks to the ground really well. I'm really impressed with this. The steering feels great, good feedback, just the right amount of weight to it. Oof, the sound is awesome. Perfect shifting with the DCT. Okay, well, let's see how she does. Here we go. Oh my lord! Yeah! Okay. Dude, this thing's insane! Holy crap, that is super powerful! Wow! Jesus! Oh yeah, by the way, it gives you shift lights. Isn't that awesome? Oh my lord, this thing's ridiculous. Alright, well, so straight line is insanity, and as you can see, like, even coming around these corners, it handles really well. And it's, again, these are back Texas roads, they're kind of rough and bouncy and not the greatest, and man, it's handling this with just no issues whatsoever. It's just totally pleasant. Look at that. Like, really bouncy right there. It just flies right over them. Totally comfortable. By the way, these seats, super comfortable. You could drive this thing across the country and you would not have any seat fatigue. You would not have driver's fatigue. Now, admittedly, you probably don't want to drive it across the country in sport mode. You might want it in normal mode, where it's a little bit more forgiving, everything's a little bit more compliant. You know, you've got the magnetic suspension and all that good stuff, so it is a reasonable amount of difference between the different driving modes. It's not like a lot of cars where you tell it, oh, go into different modes, and you're like, I can't tell. This thing, you can actually kind of tell the difference. Now, it's not dramatic, but it's enough. Oh yeah. Wow, man, they hit an absolute home run. Good job, Ford. I'm so happy that they did such a good job in this car. And the interior, look at it, totally silent. Other than engine noise. But no cricks or rattles or anything like that. Build quality is excellent. Also, because it's a blower and not turbos, the boost is very linear, so the power comes on, and it's actually pretty manageable in a linear fashion. Now, it is a little bit challenging just because of how powerful this car is. I mean, it is absurdly powerful. Now, unlike the earlier GT500s, it doesn't have a ton of that blower whine, which is fascinating. You don't get that sound, which you may or may not like. The whine was pretty cool, and admittedly, when you hear that sound, it makes the hairs on your neck stand up, but so unlike previous generation 500s, the traction control in this is really quite good. So when it cut the power, it enabled the power to come rolling right back on as soon as the traction got back in place. So, you know, it was slipping a bit and it kind of cut the throttle a bit, but it wasn't like the old ones where it was like, if you hit the traction control, it just felt like, you know, it just died. It fell flat on its face. It made it so it was actually still progressing. Like, it didn't feel like it just totally cut the power. It cut the power some, but it wasn't maybe all of the power. I don't know, that was a different experience, and it actually felt really good. That was very easy to manage with tires slipping pretty substantially. If you just could get this car and make it shed about 300 pounds, I think it would be just tremendous. You know, like, turn this into an absolute track rat, get rid of the rear seats, all the sound deadening, all that stuff, you know, just shave some weight. Oh, wonderful handling. It's hard to believe that this is a Mustang. It's just so absurdly powerful. Just enjoying the drive. Okay, another little speed run. Here we go. Holy shit, this thing is so fast. Okay, well, yep, I love this car. Well, YouTube, this might be my favorite car under $100,000 right now. It's just that good. Honestly, if I needed a car that could do everything, could carry groceries, go to the track, have a lot of fun, just be fast as shit, and look damn good, this might be it. This might be it, because I know, like, I love Ferraris, don't get me wrong. The Ferraris are amazing, but they are two-seaters, they're not practical, and they gather a lot of unwanted attention sometimes in certain circumstances. Like, you really don't want to take it to the grocery store, but this, most people are gonna be like, oh, it's just a Mustang. My only complaint is that it's big. I wish it was a smaller car and I wish it was a little bit lighter, but from a performance and power standpoint, my lord, I mean, my heart's going. Like, this is legit awesome power. It is super badass. I'm telling you, these are amazing. This might be the coolest car to have come out in the last few years. This, honestly, the C8, the C8 Z06, that's right up there. I think those are some better cars than anything Ferrari's produced in the last 5 years. Except for maybe the SP3. But I don't know about you, but I don't have $3 to $6 million laying around. But $100,000? Yeah, okay. Like, share, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell. Check out normalguysupercar.com. There you can buy parts and services from us. Use code NGS10. It hooks you with 10% off. And of course, NG Supercars, our dealership. We do appreciate if you guys could support us by buying parts and services and cars from us. Thank you so much to all of you that have helped us out over all these years. And we'll see you in the next video. We're going to be doing some cool car stuff. You're going to want to stay tuned. It's going to be sweet.